Welcome to Modern with Randy. I am Randy, and today we're talking about the August 26th B&R, the winners, the losers, what got banned, what happened. As always, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that I'm doing, as well as let me know what you thought of the B&R. Do you think it was enough? Do you think it was not enough? Do you think it overbound or overreached? Just let me know what you're thinking, and let's get into it. So, for anyone who didn't notice the B&R announcement, probably one of the most anticipated and sought after B&Rs in a long time here. Uh, First off, we had standard, no changes. Not too surprising, there was no changes here in standard. I've heard it's in a really good position. I haven't played any of it myself, just things I've heard. Really just kind of been focusing on Pioneer and Modern since we have the RC coming up here in October in DC that I'm qualified for, and then obviously the Modern RCQ season. So those are the two formats I've been focusing on the most as it stands. Next, moving on to Pioneer, Amalia and Soren did get banned. These were probably the two of the most anticipated bans coming into this B&R. Everyone kind of expected either Amalia to get banned, or we thought Wild Walker was going to get banned. One of those two cards. Same thing with Soren or Vein Ripper. And it looks like they decided just to go for the head and cut off Amalia. Make her no more. She's not in the format anymore. Same thing with Soren. I'm guessing they just, they kind of thought they didn't want to have to worry about another enabler and another Vein Ripper-ish card coming up in, 4 or 5 sets from now. So, makes sense. I know a lot of people are surprised that that Phoenix didn't get touched at all. We didn't lose Picklock Prankster, which a lot of people thought was going to be the ban, and then we also didn't see Treasure Cruise ban either, which a lot of people were calling for. So it does make us wonder if Phoenix is now going to be the #1 deck to play, since the two decks that were ahead of it are now been taken out of the format. So we'll be interested to see what happens in Pioneer, what waxes and wanes, and what kind of takes over the format as it grows. Then we have Modern. Nadu did get banned, to the surprise of no one. Pretty much, if you played Modern, pay attention to Modern, notice anything in Modern, you just need to be banned. Not too much else to say about that. The big one, though, is Grief is now banned in Modern, which I think is very weird to see. I'm not really sure why they decided now is the time to ban Grief. If anything, it was time to ban Grief when we banned Fury, but they decided to ban Grief. The reasoning is that it was unfun and unfair. When you get double, triple scammed on turn 1, and it was unfun and unfair when they banned Fury. It's not like Grief suddenly became good after Fury got banned, so I'm not really sure what their argument is. So kind of a weird one to me. I don't think Grief needed to get banned in the format. I think the format had kind of changed, and that wasn't the thing to do anymore. Maybe they think that with Nadu banned, that was what everyone's going back to, but even before MH3 came out, Grief scam wasn't a huge deal. So not really sure there. And then in Legacy, Grief got banned. Legacy players have been calling it for this for 3 years, so I'm anticipating that in 3 years from now they're also going to get their ban of Psychic Frog. So good luck, Legacy players. And then in Vintage, Urza Saga and Vexing Bobble were restricted. Hopefully that's good. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. I don't play that format. Closest I get to Vintage anymore is by playing the Vintage on Magic Online, the Vintage Cube. That's really the only time I get close to Vintage-ish. So. But these are the bans. This is what happened, and then I'm going to kind of go over, what I think has won and lost in Pioneer and in Modern. So, getting to it, we have the losers of Modern, as I'm calling it, or the decks that got most heavily impacted by the bans. So, starting off, obviously, Nadu is gone. The deck has been killed. Its namesake card is banned. Rest in peace. No one cares. Moving on, Necro Dominance got a nerf as well because it lost Grief. That's another pitch card it lost, more interaction it lost. Same thing with Gordio's Vengeance. Gordio's Vengeance lost Grief. That was a good proactive card it had to help go along with that Ephemerate package. So it is on the downtick. I have seen some lists come out. There's been some 5-0s and things like that. So Gordio's Vengeance probably isn't dead, but it definitely got hurt. Another one that's not up here is Living End. I think is now just dead. I don't think it can survive the 2 bannings now, with it losing its instant speed cascade and now losing its main interaction of doing anything with Grief. So I think that deck is now just gone out of Modern for the time being. I think it's dropped down to probably tier 3 or worse at the time being. I know someone did already 5-0 with a no grief list in Modern with Living End. I think that's an exception, not the rule, though. So we'll wait and see. I do think Living End probably is dead for the unfortunate part of the Living End players. And like the biggest losers I think right now of Modern is obviously Nadu's completely dead. I think Necrodominance got hit. I don't know if it's really gonna kill the deck. It's already not that popular, so we'll see. Gorio's Vengeance definitely gonna have to retool and come back to the drawing board, see what they need to do now that Grief isn't in the deck. But these are the biggest losers, I would say, of Modern. Going on to the winners of Modern, starting off, I have Ocelot Pride, or basically just the energy decks. I think that with Nadu out of the format, they get to play a much more mid-range game plan now. They don't have to play super aggro like they were. They also get to play some better sideboard cards for matchups that are actually hurting them. So I think this is going to be, the new tier 1 deck is going to be the Ocelot Pride decks, or the Boros Energy and Mardu Energy. Just kind of waiting to see which one comes out on top, what happens with it all. I definitely think that's where we're sitting at right now, is that, Boros Energy, Mardu's Energy, those are the top decks as it stands. Any deck that plays Kozilek's Command has now gotten better with the banning of Nadu and Grief. So your Through the Breach decks, your Tron decks, things like that have gotten better. They no longer have to worry about a combo that can just kill them on turn 3. So that's good for them. They also have to worry about Grief interaction, which is good for them. Not that that was a huge deal, obviously, right now, but that is something that's gotten better. Same thing with Primeval Titan or the Amulet Titan decks. They've gotten better because Nadu is out of the format. Grief to a lesser extent, but like I said, wasn't super heavily played. But the Nadu being out of the format is definitely going to help the Amulet Titan decks. That was kind of why we saw their decline for the minute, was because Amulet Titan was on average a little slower than Nadu. So being slower than the best combo deck makes you not worth playing if you're just going to play the best deck in the format. So Amulet Titan, once again, is going to be back towards the top, to the surprise of no one, basically. But these are the major winners, I think, of Modern. Obviously, we haven't, figured out exactly what's going to rise to the top. There may be some decks that were suppressed from Nadu or not being played because of Nadu that might raise their way back up. It'll be interesting to see. I think Modern's a very open format right now, and I think it's very diverse, and the banning of Nadu was a much needed ban. Moving on to Pioneer, then. The major losers of Pioneer are obviously, the Vampires deck, the Amalia deck. They've both been killed. I think that Blue-White Control also loses a lot of what it had going on. We had a pretty much solved meta. When you have a solved meta, control decks do well because they know exactly what they need to plan for. Main deck, sideboard, those type of things. Plus, Control had a pretty decent Amalia matchup already. Could board wipe relatively easily and then just counter the artifact is a Flux Reservoir, so they didn't have to worry about the deck too much. Obviously, they could still lose to it. I had beaten a control deck before in some of my RCQs, so it's not an impossible matchup by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think they have lost some of their edge. Not to say that control is now unplayable. I think that it's going to come back up. We do have aggro rising up as well, which is kind of what control doesn't want to see. So these are probably the biggest losers, I think, of Pioneer. As for the winners of Pioneer, pretty much every deck in the format. Let's be real. The biggest one is I have a Slick Shot Show Off up here, which just represents all the aggro decks. So Heroic, we have the Boros Burn deck, we have the Gruul Prowess deck, we have Convoke, Angels. All these decks are now much more viable and able to be played because Amalia is not just hindering them and stopping them. And that's what we saw ad nauseum. At the time of making this video and when it comes out, there's already a 64% I believe challenge for Pioneer after the banning, and Convoke took it down. Like, I think that just kind of showcases that people have been wanting to play aggro, they've been wanting to do something, and now they can because Amalia just doesn't slap them down going, hey man, I gained 80 life. Here you go. And so it's really nice to see that aggro is going to be back into the format. I think it's going to really change a lot of things going on in Pioneer. That being said, we also have the food combo decks coming back. So we have the Rakdos Sack deck. We have the Yagra Eater of All deck that's been running around, is making waves again. this deck can now exist essentially because we don't have Rain Ripper that just kills you because you were sacrificing your own creatures. So that's a huge deal. Those are going to be coming back. Mono green gets much better. Amalia was kind of its worst matchup, and it was already good against. It was able to race or like be okay-ish against the Vampires deck, but Amalia was usually a little faster than it, so like that is now gone. That problematic threat is gone. So mono green gets better. The Lotus Field gets better because the format's been opened back up again. Lotus Field can prey on some of these decks. Notably, aggro is going to be coming up, so Lotus Field might still be in that weird transitioning phase BS. Don't really know for that one. But these are like basically the winners of Pioneer, which is really just all of Pioneer has won. You know, we got rid of Rakdos Vampires that was taking up 30% of the meta. We got rid of Amalia that was keeping down aggro decks. The format is alive. The format is healthy. There's a million possibilities, and I'm interested to see what people are going to come up with. I have my own testing I want to do because I have the RC coming up. So I'll be doing a lot more Pioneer content on this channel as well. So hopefully you guys are going to be wanting to see that. But these are basically the winners of Pioneers. The Pioneer format, I think, is a much healthier spot, and I'm really happy to see what's going on with that format. But I do think that with these bannings, besides Grief, I don't think that was necessary, that the format is going to be a lot healthier for both Modern and Pioneer. Modern because we don't have Nadu clogging up tournaments, doing that BS, and Pioneer because now we have a bunch of decks that have been basically relegated tier 2, tier 3, that can surge back up into that tier 1, tier 1.5 era and like actually put up numbers and do real results. But I would say I'm happy with the bannings so far from Wizards. I think that they're good bannings. I think they're way too late. I think that we need to address this much earlier, and I think that they need to work on their banning issues. I think they need to just acknowledge that, hey, when something's wrong, we need to ban it. We need to come out and ban it. And it's fine if that happens. Fine if there's bannings. People are upset because broken cards got banned. And so I think that's just something that Wizards needs to acknowledge or come to terms with, that we have to ban these cards. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy to see what Pioneer is going to bring. I'm happy to see what's going to happen in Modern and what's going to take over. Hopefully someone's going to figure out how to beat the Boros / Mardu energy deck. I think it's very beatable as a whole. I think you just have to actually sit down and have a game plan for it. And now that we don't have to worry about Nadu on our backs, it's going to be a lot more open sideboard for it. So, be interesting to see. But I think Wizards did do a good job. I think they did it way too late. But as always, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you thought of the B&R announcements. Did you think it was a good thing? Did you think it was a bad thing? Did you think Wizards went far enough or not far enough, overstepped? Let me know, and I'll be here for you guys next time.